Today is Friday, October 31st of 2025. This is Epic Panda Pat, your host for today, giving you your daily Monster Story 3 news. And holy shit, we got fuck ton of news today. Let me show you. An introduction type of video to show you what the game's about, a trailer, the website, and pre-orders. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about, so let's just go. Let's just get to it. First off, let's start with the pre-order trailer. We saw a little bit of more of the new area, which we still don't know the name of so far. We've seen like a forest shot. We see this desert shot of a new desert biome, which sick, cool, and way more cool visual shots. The predictions of Eleanor being the main villain of this game are false because it seems like it's her mother. Which I'm like, that makes sense, that checks out. She's a main party member, how does she have time to be a villain off and off camera? But yeah, so with this trailer basically saying she was certainly my mother, yeah, the main villain of this game with the Wrath of V is Eleanor's mother. We get to know about the other characters we see on the cover box that we now know the names of and who they are and what their monsters are. We see someone with a Gravios, a second Legiana, and a Puke. And then they get shadow dropped to a new character, which looks like a Neko tribe that have Palamutes as like their main monsties or monsters. And then we see an infamous shot with a giant feral crystals on this mountain, and then just soon to be revealed that it's fucking Yamasakami. Which I'm like, whoa. We bring back Yamasakami in this game? That's absurd. That's crazy. That's kind of bonkers. Because he's only been in Freedom Unite in the second gen games. That is it. That's the only time we've seen him. It's been basically 2 decades since we got fucking Yamasakami. And he's a feral monster. I don't know if he's the main feral monster, but he's one of them. Which I'm like, cool. We see the title card drop, and then we cut to the ending shot of the trailer where Eleanor is cooking. So she'll be the one cooking our food instead of just random palicos or whatnot. Which, if I'm correct, that's not a mechanic in stories. So this is a first. Which I'm like, cool, awesome. The main monster mechanics are going to be in Story 3 instead of just standard RPG mechanics and whatnot, which big fan of. And we see the details for the deluxe stuff, which I'll get into later. But yeah, that is basically the first trailer for the pre-orders. Next we have the introduction video, which on YouTube it says it came out first. Probably because they had to re-upload the pre-order trailer. I'm guessing twice? Because I'm pretty sure it was different before. But again, not too bothered by it, honestly. That could just be my YouTube being weird. It starts with chapter Twisted Reflection, which basically tells the story of there's 2 twin Rathaloses with this weird crystal on their head, and they have no idea what it is. It's going to cause tension because it resembles a sign of civil war, and it being an end-all be-all. Then we have the chapter, A Journey for the Truth, which kind of talks about how you, the protagonist, is a captain of the riders that go around and do a certain amount of tasks and jobs, right? And you have the monsties, which are just eggs of monsters. They're like chibi versions, and they kind of act like Pokemon. You know the whole gist. We played stories before. Hopefully. And then also guns with title drop and deluxe details. Now let's dig in deeper with the website. For some reason, the Nintendo Store is still not up. I don't know why. I figured it would be up with the game being available for pre-order, but I don't know. I guess they're waiting for another trailer for them to do that. I don't know. Or I don't know, trying to line up with the Amiibo stuff. I'm not sure. But yeah, there you go. Let's talk about these new cast of characters. We're now introduced to Gull, which, for me, this is like the new Roberto, which is basically a main hunter in the story's party. Looks like he's a bow user, and this guy has a Legiana. So instead of just a full hunter, this guy is a rider with the same personality as Roberto would. And I think it's kind of weird that we have a second writer with a second Legiana. I think that is kind of odd because we already have Simon, but if they do stuff different, then I'm not going to complain that much. Or maybe there's a banter between Gull and Simon, which, cool. But I feel like the other character that's associated with Gull that I want to talk about is that Gull also has a Palico named Murray, who is just, as of right now, just a standard Palico. Next up, we got Ogun, who is more of a researcher on the group. I mean, that kind of makes sense based off his outfit. He has a little ocarina on him, which I think is cool. Got like the fucking Fortnite scarf thing on his arm that every Fortnite character has for whatever reason. And this guy's main companion is a Puke. Korra, who is a older character that has been basically like she was there when the Riders were founded, and she has a very explosive personality with trying to get down with gunpowder and bombs. Assuming she'll probably have a bowgun as some type of weapon or whatnot, or gun lance maybe, if she's going to be one of those playable characters. And her main companion is a Gravios. Pharaoh, who is basically the Vice King because the Vermeer's Queen, which is the villain of the game, is absent for, her duties because she's being evil. We have Pharaoh, who is taking up her space in the meanwhile. Hopefully he also doesn't become evil, because that would be really unfortunate. We have Vandera, who is basically just guarding this gate after Civil War shenanigans, and he is just basically a guard, instead of just, he's like an elder Wyverian. Which I'm like, okay, weird, but I think the cool thing about this guy, he has a fucking Magamalo Monstie. But he's basically the who goes there type character, which, neat. And last we have Cole and the Canine Ward, which she's trying to preserve all the Palamute stuff because apparently they've been decreasing over time, which kind of sad, But it's also like, hey, maybe this is like Rise, where there's only Palamutes in Cremora, because there's not that much Palamutes around. So she is trying to preserve her Palamutes, and she's just getting her and her people to safer locations and just having her stuff preserved, which, that's cool. I like that. I like that narrative. I like that backstory of her. But hopefully we probably find her and more of her people in that second area, because we've only seen the second area with Palamutes. So I'm assuming that's where her village is going to be, in that second locale. Up to the Monstie tab, we could see the names of the said Monsties for the other party members. Legia, which is worse than the other Legiana, which was called Fawn, which is like an actual name. This is just, I'm going to remove the N and A from Legiana. Legia. We got Chirply for the Puke, and then we have Gravy for Gravios, which I kind of wish they named him Gravy, because that would have been funnier, but, Gravy, whatever. I'm not going to get too butthurt about it. Why would I? And then we have Feral Yama Sakami, which it says in the little text box there. It only goes for rich soil, and it's feared in a force of nature. So, little theory thing. We don't do theories or speculation here, but I just gotta get this one out there for once. Is the reason why we haven't seen Yamasakami in so long, is that because he couldn't find a good location to habitate in? And the only other good foliage or the good environment for him to stay by is with the feral crystals and stuff in Story 3. If so, that's funny as fuck. And if that's the case, I never want to see him in a mainline game. Going on mechanical-wise stuff, we have these two stuff based off side stories, which are just side quests. They're not that big of a deal. There is some stuff where throughout the game, you could get new monsties for them and new weapons for them to switch out, which is sick as stuff. We're going to come back to this later because there's something with side stories that I'm not a fan of in the slightest, but we'll get to it when we get to it. And then we see the character creation on this other side, which we've seen on Gamescom Asia, so I'm not going to go over it too quickly, but yeah, there we go. Now let's get to the main meat and bones of today, which being the pre-orders. We now know the full pricing and specs of Monster Stories 3. We see here that standard edition, you just get base game, $70 USD. Deluxe edition, you get base game, get deluxe kit, you get the additional side story for Rudy. We'll get to that later. And special outfits. You get a bunch of cosmetic costumes for 90 USD. And then premium deluxe, you get everything in base deluxe plus DLC packs. And for 100 USD. Now, with this additional side story for Rudy being under paywall, 1,000,000,000% not a fan of that at all. Very icky to me they're going to have something like that behind a paywall for an additional like $20 or $30. As of right now, you can't pre-order, you can't buy that separately as of right now, so the only way you can access it is their deluxe edition, which is very scummy and very anti-consumer, which that is bad, because some people already can't afford $70 games out of their hobby or budget. Some people do, but that's not the majority. Side content where you could possibly get new weapons for Rudy is bad. You're but like this should be your base game. You already have stuff for Eleanor, it looked like during the other screenshot, and I'm assuming every other character except Rudy. I know it says it's gonna come out in the fall of 2026, so maybe you could buy that separately. Maybe, but that's still not excusable. That's still bad. Because I was gonna buy the Premium Deluxe Edition to show my support for the devs, but I can't support that. I can't. So for me, I'm just getting base game. You can do what you want with your money and your way. I'm just telling you how I feel about this. There will be a pre-order bonus by getting a layered armor, the Skyscale Queen for Eleanor, which that does look clean. I'm very big fan of that outfit. I also like how the horn it has a bigger shoulder blade. As someone that loves the Rathalos armor already, I love the shoulder blades. I love the shoulder pads, and I love the helmet of the Rathalos armor. And seeing that, but like more exaggerated with the whole Skyscale thing, where a few horns are bigger. Big fan. Now let's see the details of the cosmetics you get in the Deluxe Edition and Premium Deluxe Editions. You get layered armor for Rangers, which are very based, with their armor are very based off the monsters they have. You see Legiana, Anjanath, Gravios, Tobikadachi, and Puke armor. Inspired outfits for all the NPCs, which I'm very big fan of that. We got the return of Monster Hairs, which we see designed for, I'm pretty sure, the following: Arkfeld, Mizusune, and Ludogaren, which pretty much soft confirms that Arkfeld, Mizu, and Ludogaren are going to be in this game. Mizu being returning, and then Arkfeld and Ludogaren being two new ones, which crazy pull. Then we get Rudy outfits, we get some standard, unique ones. I think you see a specific Rathalos one, which again, the extra horn, cool. The premium deluxe version, we have just other special outfits for the characters, right? We see like, here's like casual wear, we have festival wear kind of stuff, cool. Monster Hairs, which way more confirms here. I want to say the ones I'm confident in right now is Ragna, Malzeno, Espenes, and Gosharag. The other two, they could be anything, I wouldn't know. Maybe a Somnicant, but I don't see it. I've seen people as the poison brute monster from Frontier. I forgot the name, but picture on screen. The Afro with the bird on the head, that could be anything, I wouldn't know. But then the Rudy outfits, which again just confirm that Arkfeld and Malzeno could be in this game, because it's the outfits right there. That's just the palette gear for Arkfeld and Malzeno. We see more detail on the Monster Story 3 amiibo for, of course, the Switch 2 version of Story 3. More details of Ratha, Ratha V, and Rudy. But we see what you get for using these set amiibo. The Ratha amiibo, you get the Skyscale Rathalos armor as layered. Ratha V, you get the Skyscale Ratha V armor. And then Rudy, you get the Oinky outfit. And then having saved data outfits. And I'm assuming because of all the platforms: Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and Switch. All these, all the following games, Stories 2, and Rise, are all on their consoles. Their premium bonus and stuff will transfer over because that makes sense. If you have Stories Save Data, you get the Hakumen Rider outfit. Or if you have Rise, you get the Kimura, and then Stories 2, you get the Mahana outfit. And the very last thing I want to go over before ending this video today is the specs for Stories 3 on PC and Steam. Console players, don't worry, y'all are fine. They're more optimized for console anyway, but for the PC heads like me, this is where I have news for you. Specs aren't too crazy. Minimum for graphics, just GTX 1660. You get what processor you need: an Intel Core i3 9000 or an AMD Ryzen 3, 16 RAM, 50 gigabytes for storage. SSD is required, which, same thing as the Wild thing, kind of sucks, but, it could have been worse. And it is on Windows 11. No Windows 10, fully Windows 11. As for the minimum requirements, recommended is a little bit higher. Again, NVIDIA 2060, i5, still 16 gigs of RAM, and then SSD still. It could be worse. It also could be better. It's that middle ground thing. It's not too crazy with optimization. Most people should be fine. This has been your daily news from Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection on, again, Friday, October 31st, 2025.